Hey, wrestling fans, welcome to One Winged Wrestling, where we help you navigate the complex world of pro wrestling, bringing you the best matches, world class wrestlers, and news you can count on. At One Winged Wrestling, we bring the elite to you. My name is Bill Cutbush, and I am flying for this special. I am flying. Yes, I'm flying solo for this special bonus episode of One Winged Wrestling. Krishna Denai is not with me because I am bringing to you today the review we have for Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom 2023, an event which happened on April the 23rd, which was, I guess, yesterday now by this time, but I have now checked out the show and I wanted to go over it with you. I'm just sitting here enjoying a nice fresh cup of coffee in a fairly cool day in Victoria, British Columbia right now. I will be recording from here as well with Krishna later for our One Winged Wrestling weekly show. But wanted to get this in. I wanted to let you guys know because this was a great show and I thought it deserved its own space to talk about. So, this event came to us from Yokohama Arena, and it was the largest event in Stardom history, and apparently the largest gate for a female wrestling event. Now, I wasn't sure because I heard two different things. The largest gate for a female wrestling event in history in Japan, or the largest gate for a female wrestling event this century in Japan. And it might have been the largest gate for a female wrestling event outside of Japan, too. I am not sure. But it was very, very big. I'll put it to you that way. The attendance at the event was 5,539, which I believe is the most Stardom has ever had at an event. So it starts off, of course, with a pre-show, and we get the Stardom Rumble, and this is, of course, where a participant will come out at whatever interval they seem to decide they come out at. But I think it's kind of like Royal Rumble style, right? Like over the top rope eliminations, pinfalls, submissions you can be eliminated by. So yeah, it's a way to get all the talent on the show. And this one featured Waka Tsukiyama, Hanako, Koguma, this is in order they came out. Momo Kogo, Saya Ida, Lady C, Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, Hina, Rina, Hanan, Ram Kaichou, Chan Yota, Fukujin Death, Mei Sakurai, Momoe Nakanishi, who is a returning what would the word be? What's the word I'm looking for? Come on, it's on the tip of my tongue. Vet, someone who'd been around a very long time, like a legend. That's the word I'm looking for. She's like a returning legend. One of the first people I believe who actually was in All Japan Women quite a while back. But anyway, so she's a legend in Japan Joshi wrestling. Super strong Stardom Machine, super strong Big Stardom Machine, and of course, super strong Giant Stardom Machine. Somehow, I don't understand how these three always seem to draw the last entrances in every single Rumble. How does that happen? I don't get it. But anyway, Waka and Hanako started it off, and it was a good little rumble. It had its moments. They didn't do too much comedy. There've been some of these where there's a lot of comedy, but they just sprinkled comedy throughout it. You had like Koguma and Momo doing like the double bear camel clutch to two of them, and it was just fun. It was fun. There was an unfortunate moment in it though when Mei Sakurai came down. Chanyota was fighting with Fukujin Death. Came in and took down Chanyota, but then Mei and Chanyota do a drop kick fall away slam combo to Momo, and then a double vertical suplex. Koguma interrupted the pin, but at this point, Momokogo was assisted out of the ring and apparently was being looked over in the back after the match. And we learned later that she was actually taken to a local hospital for assessment. It looked like she came down hard on her head. So it's yeah, she might be concussed. I really hope she's not. I really hope she's okay. Get better soon. I have really liked Momokogo, and she seemed to be just starting to build towards perhaps something better in that confrontation she had with Club Venus recently, where she was like, "I'm not a loser. I can win, and I'm going to beat you," and blah blah blah. And it was a powerful moment for her, and I'd really like to see her kind of come out and do really well. And it's unfortunate that this happened. So I'm hoping it's not serious. I haven't been able to find any updated reports or anything on her as of the time of this recording. I'll be checking more again later. And if I find something out before we record our weekly show, I will let all of you know. Um, Anyway, the Rumble continued from there. We had Momo Nakanishi come out just after that as well. The end came, of course, when you had the Stardom machines come out. I mean, they won the last Rumble. We had Waka, Chanyota, and Nakanishi fighting. Chanyota hits a sliding lariat on Nakanishi. Waka interrupted the pin. Nakanishi hits the Momoe latch on Chanyota, and that eliminates her. Fukugen Death went after Nakanishi, but she got a vertical suplex. Then, see, all three of the Stardom machines came down together, but they kind of waited at ringside till it was their turn to enter. And at this point, Big Machine and Regular Machine were both allowed in the ring, and they attacked Nakanishi. Fukugen and Super Strong Stardom Machine go back and forth with pins, but Fukugen gets eliminated by Super Strong Stardom Machine. Waka then gets Nakanishi with the modified Tiger Suplex pin. All three machines, though, gang up on Waka and pin her. But this leaves Mei Sakurai with all three Stardom machines. But Mei manages to eliminate all three of them. She dodges a move on the top turnbuckle that causes one of them to hit another, and then she manages to get them all off the apron. And Mei Sakurai is your Stardom Rumble winner. And I was very happy because I've loved her new character. And of course, she gets a mic and she calls out all the peasants in Yokohama Arena. She puts over her Donna Del Mundo teammates. And she says that they're going to go to this expensive hotel later and they're going to celebrate all their victories. So let's see if she was right about all their victories later on, right? So the second pre-show match was Oedo Tai, Ruaka, Momo Watanabe, Saki Kashima, and Natsuko Tora taking on Thekla and Club Venus. In this case, consisting of Mariah, May, Xena, and new Jessie, who has only had a couple matches in Stardom as of this event. Well, Club Venus actually comes out to Thekla's metal theme, which I thought, hey, wow, this is the coolest Club Venus has ever looked. And then Club Venus breaks into their dance to Thekla's music. No, just please, no, don't ever do that again. Thank you. Club Venus almost seems to be courting Thekla, and the commentators mentioned that Thekla has kind of a special relationship with them because she's been helping them out, like helping them, learn Japanese, get the ropes in Japan, and that kind of thing, right? So they seem to be courting her somewhat, but she doesn't seem to really want to be part of Club Venus, and seems pretty happy in Donna Del Mundo so far. Anyway, Thekla starts against Ruaka. Ruaka missed a senton early and got put in the Jorogumo, which is Thekla's hanging figure four necklock on the ropes. Oedo Tai turns the tables though, and they trip Thekla and gang up on her, ending with Tora and Ruaka both hitting sentons for two. Momo tags in and nails three seated kicks for a 2 count. Natsuko tags in and slams Thekla, then stretches her on the ropes for two, but Thekla reverses with a Hurricane Rana and a boot for two before tagging Mariah, who enters with a shotgun drop kick for two. Momo and Xena interfere then, with Club Venus getting the upper hand and executing double half-hatch suplexes to Oedo Tai for a 2 count. They then triple team Momo, sending her out of the ring, but Natsuko Tora comes in and just cleans house. Mariah mocks her, and because they were kind of going at it, shoving at each other. So Tora just pokes her in the eye and turns to the crowd holding up the two fingers, and it was kind of funny. Slams her and lariats her down, tagging in Saki Kashima. Mirai hits the around the world backbreaker and tags Jessie, who slams Saki. She hits a fireman's carry slam for two, but Saki comes back with a Hurricane Rana and a face wash for two. Oedo Tai then gangs up on Jessie, ending with Tora hitting a Michinoku driver, followed by Saki with the diving foot stomp for two. Club Venus then interferes themselves with Xena and Mariah, putting Thekla on their shoulders for a big splash, followed by the Joyride, but Tora interrupts the pin. The match breaks down. Ruaka comes in with her case, but the ref takes it. Ruaka argues with the ref while Mariah gets the case, hands it to Thekla while they hold Saki, but Thekla is hesitant. When she finally does decide to use it, she takes a giant swing. Saki ducks and Thekla absolutely clobbers Jessie. Oedo Tai then comes back in the ring and clears it. Saki locks Jessie in the most dangerous move in professional wrestling, the Kishi Kaisei, for three. Fun little match. I'd give it something like 3.5 stars. Everyone worked really hard. I mean, it's the kind of match that you enjoy when you start watching a show, right? Like it had all the right things in place. A little bit of chaos, a lot of good moves. Saki Kashima getting the pin, which I'm gonna mark out every single time that happens. So awesome job. Thekla gets clobbered with the case in the ring by Tora after the match, and Club Venus literally carries her back to this backstage. So yeah, it was a good little match. I enjoyed it. I didn't find Club Venus as annoying without the accordion music, and maybe I'm just getting used to them. I don't know. We shall see. Maybe since Zaya Brookside hasn't been around, maybe it's just her I find annoying in Club Venus. I don't know, but we will find out. But now every time that accordion music starts, I just want to like stuff giant pieces of cotton in my ears. Anyway, well, that was the pre-show. And we then move on to the main card. And our opening contest is Azumi and Mei Suruga taking on Starlight Kid and Mei Seira. Starlight Kid came out with a Jushin Thunder Liger inspired mask. Poor Azumi. She came out like Suruga has a. Those of you who watch AEW will know her from Dark, and I think she's been on Dark Elevation as well. But she has like a long kind of fairy-like set of wings, and she came down the ramp with hers. She always holds them out, flaps them around and stuff. But Azumi came out with a similar style outfit, like sort of to be with her tag team partner. And she kind of tripped on the back of the wings on the ramp, right? She totally laughed it off. Like she just was like having so much fun with it anyway. And the wings seemed a little long for her. Like I noticed that, they were almost right on the ground. I'm not surprised she actually tripped on them, but anyway, at this point, we have Mariah May join the commentary team. It was supposed to be Momo Kogo, but of course, this is where we find out she's not going to be coming to the commentary team. And Mariah May of Club Venus stays on, and she was actually quite good. She added a lot of color. She had a few. She didn't talk too much. She didn't talk over anybody. She played out her personality, but she did add to the matches too. Especially talking about what it's like being in Japan, working and stuff like that. So I actually enjoyed her on commentary. But anyway, Azumi and Seira started out and they have an amazing high speed exchange before they tag out. Suruga and Starlight Kid follow up with an equally fast exchange with SLK hitting a crossbody for two. And then they do double drop kicks to a stalemate. Azumi interferes, but SLK gets the better of them, hitting a standing moonsault on both of them and tags Seira in. The Mays then hit double apron drop kicks to their respective opponents before brawling on the apron. Seira knocks Suruga off the apron and goes for a running knee, but Azumi trips her face first onto the apron and pulls her into the ring. Seira gets dumped to the apron again, but she drop kicks Suruga on the floor. Azumi runs across the ring doing her turnbuckle plancha to the floor, and then Starlight Kid tries to help out, but Azumi and Suruga slam her onto the mat and then into the ring post. Back in the ring, Suruga hits a double stomp for two on Starlight Kid, but Starlight Kid gets the advantage again with the Escalera arm drag. Azumi tries to interfere but gets tossed, and SLK nails a springboard tope con hero to the floor. Back in the ring, they double team Azumi with some insanely fast running strikes. Suruga hits a diving cross body for two. We get a waterfall that ends in Azumi and Suruga pinning Seira for two. Azumi's locked in a double armbar, but Starlight Kid flipped her over into a pin for a huge near fall. They go back and forth with pins again, and Azumi hits the Azumi sushi, but Starlight Kid breaks it up. Seira jackknifes Azumi and hits another pin, both for the two. Azumi then lands a buzzsaw kick to Seira for two, but Seira throws Azumi into the ropes where Starlight Kid hits the Tiger Feint kick, sending Azumi into a roll up by Seira for the three. This was a really fast match. You can probably tell from my description of it. It was chaotic as heck. There were no tags. It was whichever two happened to be in the ring. So you just had this super chaotic, high speed, back and forth, move, move, move kind of match. Krishna probably would have loved it too because it was so fast and there was so much going on, and all four of these women worked their asses off. It was a really fun match. I loved it. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. Solid stuff, and that was the end of the pre-show. This is the kind of thing you watch and you're like, this is why I watch Stardom, right? Like, just sometimes you get this high speed chaos and it is just so much fun. And you put Azumi and Starlight Kid in a ring, and what do you expect? And then Mei Suruga and Mei Sierra, um, they're both fairly new to Stardom, right? I mean, it's very interesting that they're bringing in some new people, and we're going to see some new combinations, and both of them are fast, both of them are good, right? So yeah, it was a really fun match, and I look forward to more from the newer people, and of course, anytime Azumi and Starlight Kid are in a ring together, yeah, you can just take my money now. So next up, we have Hazuki and Fuwa-chan versus Utami Hayashishita and Miyu Amasaki. Fuwa-chan is a comedian and YouTube star in Japan, so this is kind of like a celebrity match. He's a nationwide celebrity, like a household name in Japan. The commentators emphasized how many months of rigorous training Fuwa-chan went through at the Stardom Dojo before debuting in Stardom last month. The match is being broadcast outside of Stardom in Japan on primetime television. So this was kind of a big deal for the Japanese audience. They show a video of Fuwa-chan training before the match, including with Kazuchika Okada, who reportedly does things like, okay, stop, do 500 squats right now, like no matter what else is going on. So I found that very interesting. During the match, they note too how much time Hazuki spends helping new young stars and how she helped train Fuwa-chan as well. So that was also very interesting. So yeah, so we have this. I guess it's kind of the celebrity spot match, right? But the fact is they emphasize how hard Fuwa-chan has trained, and it showed. Hazuki and Utami started off the match though with a knuckle lock, which Utami wins. But they go back and forth with move and counter move briefly, and then both tag out. Miyu gets the better of Fuwa, and then her and Utami double teamer with a lifted face buster, a drop kick for two before Miyu locks on a knee bar, but Fuwa manages to make it to the ropes. Amasaki then ties Fuwa's leg in the ropes, and it's a running drop kick for two before tagging in Utami, who body slams Fuwa twice for two. And these were like delayed, extended body slams, right? She tags in Miyu, who drops Fuwa twice before Fuwa comes back with a drop kick and tags Hazuki. And of course, now we get Hazuki in the ring, and she, as usual, her energy only has one level. So she hits a boot and a code breaker on Miyu for two and transitions immediately to a crossface. Her transitions are just seamless until Utami breaks it up. Hazuki then hits a double springboard drop kick to both of them and then hits the face washes on Miyu. But on the senton, Miyu manages to dodge and goes for the jumping DDT, but Hazuki counters her with a big boot and tags in Fuwa. Fuwa nails a drop kick for two, then applies a Boston Crab. Now, her Boston Crab was a little off. That's all I'm going to say about it. Until Amasaki reaches the ropes. Fuwa then hits a missile drop kick, but Utami broke up the pin. She goes for a vertical suplex, but Miyu blocks and hits the handspring elbow and drop kick before tagging Utami, who absolutely levels Fuwa-chan. But Fuwa fights out of the Argentine hold and they exchange forearms, which Utami naturally dominates. But Hazuki interferes, allowing Fuwa to lock on a Cobra twist until Utami reaches the ropes. Utami avoids another vertical, hitting a side slam and a lariat kick combo with Amasaki for two. But when she climbs the ropes, Suzuki code breakers Utami, leaving her for Fuwa. Fuwa hits a diving crossbody for two, then finally gets the vertical suplex for another two. She keeps trying to pin over and over and over, but can't get more than two. She's just so frustrated at this point. She can't pin Utami. Fuwa then hits a big boot in bridging German, but Amasaki interrupts the pin. Utami finally reverses Fuwa into a body slam, locks on a rear naked choke until Fuwa flops onto the ropes. Like that's essentially what happened because she was almost out. Utami lifts her up, but Fuwa rolls through for two. Utami then levels Fuwa with a 360 lariat. I mean, she went all the way around, but Hazuki interrupts the pin. Amasaki then hits the jumping DDT. Utami hits the bridging German on Fuwa-chan and gets the three. Now, look, celebrity matches, I often go back to WWE and I'm like, oh my God, most of the time, like sometimes you get a really good celebrity who trained hard, but they still look like a celebrity. Fuwa-chan trained like hell, man. I mean, she looked basically like a Stardom rookie, right? Like she hit stuff. She did a lot of moves. She didn't look uncomfortable most of the time in the ring. She's only had three matches, or second. Oh no, this was only her second match. My apologies. For someone with so little experience, I mean, she would look comfortable on like AEW Dark having matches. It's just like kudos to her for the amount of work she clearly put in. And of course, we had some great stuff from the more experienced members too. There was like Fuwa-chan just showed a lot of heart, right? I was really skeptical coming into this because I didn't get a chance to watch her first match. But when I saw this, I was like, wow, hey, not bad. Good job. High five. I mean, I was impressed. And I mean, what really, honestly, what should I expect though from someone who spends that much time in the Stardom Dojo and gets trained by Kazuchika Okada, right? But Utami then Utami said she came far and I'm sorry. Sometimes my tongue does not want to work. But anyway, Utami gets a mic after it and she says to Fuwa-chan that she came far and welcome to becoming a pro wrestler. So Queen's Quest then leaves, and Fuwa-chan gets a mic and she says, "Hey, I lost, but thanks for the support." She says she put her life on hold for the last year to become part of the professional wrestling scene and learned what it was like to be a professional wrestler. She's come to love professional wrestling. She's a fan now. She's put everything she could into the match, still couldn't win. So she's going to take some time away and think and consider and come back and do it properly if she comes back at all. But Hazuki congratulates her, gets a mic around, says, and tells her, in a way, it is a victory. We don't know whether you'll be wrestling again, but if you do, I'll be here waiting for you. So that was the end of that match. Yeah, it was really well done. It was a really solid use of a celebrity because they didn't feel like they were out of place. And I like that. You want to bring in someone and expose Stardom to a wider audience and that kind of thing? Go for it. If you're going to do it, this was the way to do it. So next up, we have the Himeka retirement match. Krishna, I'm talking to you right now. This is the end of the tour, my man. So, buckle up. This is the last of it. But I mean, Krishna and I have joked on the podcast about the retirement tours, right? But it has been really cool watching this because I've seen Himeka have like match after match after match against people that you could tell how much it meant to her to have those matches, and that she's just on her way out. I found out during this too, and I hadn't realized this. I don't know how I missed this news back in July, but Himeka lost her father very abruptly, and apparently she had never told her father that she was a professional wrestler because her father didn't want her to do that. He was so worried about the safety of his daughter going into being a professional wrestler, and then he died before she could actually tell him. And her and her mom had put a plan in place to actually tell the father and surprise him and bring him to a show and that sort of thing, but it never happened, and he died. And so I think that has a lot to do with her retirement. um, but this is her last match in Stardom, and she's taking on her tag team partner and best friend Micah. They've only fought once before. It was a double knockout at the 5-star Grand Prix. Mina Shirakawa actually serves as the ring announcer. Himeka comes out full on dressed as a princess. Her retirement ceremony, they note though, will be May 14th at Korakuen Hall. So Micah and Himeka immediately go back and forth with shoulder tackles, neither giving an inch until Micah finally runs her over. They go at it again on the floor, Himeka charging at her from the ramp, but Micah reverses into a vertical suplex. Back in the ring, they exchange forearms, then running shoulder tackles in the ring. But Himeka finally drops Micah and applies the single leg crab until Micah reaches the ropes. Himeka clotheslines Micah off the apron to the floor, and she hits a diving crossbody to the floor from the top of the turnbuckle. The crowd is like just screaming her name at this point. But back in the ring, Micah catches Himeka on the turnbuckle and hits a delayed vertical suplex. Both are down. They get to their feet and exchange lariats back and forth until Himeka takes Micah down and nails the JP coaster. She goes for the Rainmaker, but Micah reverses into a Rainmaker of her own. Himeka then hits a backdrop driver for 2. She gets Micah up on the turnbuckle and hits a power bomb for 2, her running power bomb. On the run, though, Micah reverses Himeka into a power slam, puts on a rear naked choke, but Himeka reaches the ropes. Micah then hits the Suzanka, followed by the Enko Toshi for 2. She goes for the Michinoku driver, but Himeka stacks her up for 2. Micah lands the Michinoku driver too, but Himeka kicks out. She locks in the rear naked choke again. You can see Himeka's eyes rolling back in her head. I mean, she sold this so well. She looked like she was just absolutely toast. But when she drops a bit, her leg actually hits the rope. So they causes the rope break. Micah runs at her again, but Himeka hits the jumbo knee. She then hoists Micah on the turnbuckle, nails another running power bomb for a huge near fall. But on the subsequent run, Micah catches her and lands the Michinoku driver, followed by a second Michinoku driver. Then she looks at Himeka, pulls her up again, asks her to kick out again, then headbutts her, like telling her, please kick out because she doesn't want the match to end. Then headbutts her and lands one more Michinoku driver and is actually sobbing as she covers her. And that was the match. They're both crying at this point. I mean, what a match. The story in it was just, especially at the end there, it was so emotional. Like both these women were just so evenly matched. Tons of solid power move. I mean, this is not going to be a high speed contest, right? It was 2 women just beating the hell out of each other with power moves. It was a lot of high risk stuff too. I mean, that big crossbody off the top of the turnbuckle to the floor. I mean, Himeka's not a small woman, right? the high risk, really good kickouts. I bid on a couple of them, but man, that finish. I mean, it was just, it was very, very emotional. So Himeka gets a mic. Well, I'd give it 4.25 stars, by the way. Himeka gets a mic and says, "Thank you, Micah, for being there through the hardest times, all the crying, the whining, and complaining. You know, if Micah had not been here tonight, Himeka would not be here tonight. That's how important Micah was to my career." And she says, she turns to the audience, says, "The fans who supported Himeka over the last 5 years, you make me very happy. Thank you for being part of this journey." And then she bows to the audience and hugs Micah, and they leave together. And I mean, they're both crying. It was just, it was such an emotional moment. It was a great send off. It was like, I don't know if you could come up with a more perfect retirement match for Himeka. It was just so well done. It was so, I don't know, that ending, right? It's the kind of ending that will stick with you. Like you'll remember it because it was just so well done and so emotional, right? Like it's very strange to see the partner literally begging the person that they're fighting, "Don't, please kick out, kick out. I want the match to go on," right? It was really good. So next up, we have the first of our championship matches, and almost except for the, I believe all championships were defended tonight, except for the Future of Stardom Championship, because that I think tends to be defended, not always, but tends to be defended on New Blood. And I've seen it defended even on house shows and stuff too. But in this case, every other championship is being defended, including the IWGP Championship later. But for now, we have 7 Up, Nene Takahashi and you, the champions, taking on the new eras, Mirai and Amisori, for the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championship. And this is apparently the new era's third challenge for the championship. The last match with 7 Up went to a draw. The new eras come out hard. You completely no sells Ami and Mirai's chops, though. I mean, completely just stands there getting like just smashed by Ami and no sells it completely. And then she then hits a double cross body to the two of them. She then gorilla presses Mirai out of the ring onto Ami on the floor. Nanai slams Ami's head into a ring post, rolls her back in the ring. Ami fights back briefly, but can't lift Yu, and Yu chops her down, tagging Takahashi, who hits the machine gun chops in the corner and tosses Ami around by her hair. Ami does the same back, though, and then clubs Nene, who powers up, no selling. Ami tries to suplex Nene, is blocked originally, but powers through and tags Mirai. Mirai nails the running lariats, but Nene dodges the third and German suplexes her. She dares Mirai to come back, and when she does with the lariat, and then she does with the lariat. She goes to the top, but Nene stops her. They fight on the turnbuckle, and Nene lands a superplex. They both get to their feet and exchange slaps. Mirai manages to fight Nene into a fallaway slam and then a lariat for two. New Era goes for the double back suplex, but Nene blocks and Yu takes them both down, tossing Ami out. Nene hits a modified Falcon Arrow on Mirai for two, then tags Yu, who hits a senton. They both go for a slam, but Mirai hits a reverse STO. Yu comes back with a lariat. They go for the crucifix bomb finisher, but Ami breaks it up. Nene piles them in a corner. Yu hits the cannonball in the corner for two. Mirai blocks the power bomb, though, and rolls Yu through for a pin for two. They then hit the double crucifix bomb, meaning Nene and Yu hit the double crucifix bomb, their finisher, but Mirai locks the Miramare on Yu, and Ami holds Nene back with a bulldog choke, so she managed to roll through the pin part of it. Mirai blocks Yu from the ropes, but Yu powers up and drops Mirai off. Yu runs at her, but Mirai pulls the rope, sending Yu to the floor, while Ami gorilla presses Nene into Yu on the floor in a callback to the moment at the beginning of the match when Yu did that to Ami. They then whip 7 Up into each other on the floor. Mariah hits a diving crossbody on the pair from the top. And now what happens is the new eras get in the ring and they are fighting just to prevent 7 Up from getting back in the ring with multiple hits, kicks, knocking them off the apron. Because in Japan, in Stardom, you can win the championship via countout. And this is precisely what they did. They didn't let 7 Up back in the ring. I did not like this finish. You know how I went on about the finish in the previous match? I didn't like this. The new eras are your new tag team champions. And they have defeated 7 Up. But I don't understand why they couldn't defeat 7 Up with a bloody pinfall. What? Like you're trying to tell me that Ami Sorai and Mirai, two of the hardest hitting women in Stardom, two members of God's Eye, the faction that is known as like the fighting faction, had to win the titles by count out. Count out. It just seemed so cheesy to me. And I didn't like the whole like no selling Ami and Mariah. I mean, it made them look weak. And these are two of the strongest women in Stardom. I don't know how they decided to put this match together, but I mean, they worked really hard and there were some good points. I'd still give it 3.5. It was, I mean, beyond, but I'm picking away at the two things that bothered me. The one was the no selling. I just, you know, I mean, they've worked so hard building her up and building her up and building her up. Like I've talked about her in other matches, other descript like other shows about how, she's really a powerhouse now, right? And you know, she had to match up against Mariah in the semifinals for the Cinderella tournament. And they went back and forth too, right? And it was just so hard hitting. It's so good. And Ami's had match after match where she's just a powerhouse. And to see her come in the ring and you just stands there completely no selling her chops, right? I'm like, well, who do you sell for exactly? Right. And I mean, you laughed when they lost the title. She's just smiling at Mariah. I'm like, you know, Yu's had her moments where I've been like, okay, she's good. But there are times like this when she just bugs the heck out of me. It's like, are you wrestling? You sure? You're not taking any of this seriously? You've got to be a powerhouse. You can't sell for people. I don't know. I just didn't like it. It bothered me. But I don't want to take away from the fact that the new eras have the tag titles. I think that they are going to be a great tag team to watch. Like I said, two powerhouses. Both can wrestle like crazy. Really impressed with how far Ami Sourei has come, and she's still holding the Future of Stardom Championship. Um, Mirai being the Cinderella. Spoiler alert for our OWW Weekly show this week. Mirai being the Cinderella. She still hasn't picked which title she's going to go after, and we could have a situation where they're becoming the belt collectors of Stardom, right? So we shall see. But yeah, I'm kind of glad now though they've got the belts off 7 Up because I'm not so sure I want to see you no selling title matches that often anymore, right? I love Nene Takahashi, but you has not won me over. Anyway. Do. Prominence. Kurumi Hiragi, Riza Seira, and Suzu Suzuki are taking on Restart, which is Kairi Sane. Well, not Kairi Sane anymore, just Kairi. Saori Ano and Natsupoi. Sari's first match in it is Sari's first match in a Stardom ring in 6 years and 3 months. She is, more spoiler alert, now part of the Cosmic Angels faction. I will be talking about that more extensively on the weekly show, I believe. But suffice to say that Cosmic Angels imploded at the end of the Cinderella tournament finals, down to the point where both Mina Shirakawa deserted, taking Club Venus with her, and Waka Tsukiyama chose to follow Mina. So that left only Tam and Natsupoi, and of course they have their colors allies with Saki. But that's when Saori Ano came out and joined with Cosmic Angels. This team, though, is interesting because they did team up. These three, Kairi, Ano, and Natsupoi, teamed up in 2016 in a collaboration with Stardom and Actress Girls, where Sari and Natsupoi were with that promotion at the time. And their team with Kairi back then was called Start. So now that the three of them are back together, they've called the team Restart, which, kind of clever, sure. They do note that Kairi's been an Artist of Stardom champion before. Her last team was Kairi, Io Shirai, and Miyu Iwatani. So, I mean, if you're going to put together a legendary Artist of Stardom trio, I don't think you can get much more legendary than Kairi, Io Shirai, and Miyu Iwatani. Anyway, Prominence, being the hardcore specialists they are, attack before the bell, tossing Restart out of the ring and just wrecking them on the floor. They toss Kairi into the ring after like throwing her into chairs in the floor. Riza then nails Kairi with a kendo stick. Then tosses her by her hair, shoves her head into the ring post with her knee. But Natsuboi and Ano break it up and they triple team Suzuki. Kairi tags in Natsupoi, who lands the drop kick against the ropes, but Suzuki dodges the diving crossbody and takes Natsupoi down, tagging Seira. Seira locks on the Tenzan style Boston Crab, which she then lifts and slams her into the turnbuckle for two. That was really cool. Just lifted her out of the Boston Crab and just slammed her. It was so cool. She tags Hiragi, who slams Natsupoi and steps on her. She then dodges Natsupoi as Natsupoi charges at Hiragi in the corner, and Hiragi dumps Natsupoi over the top. Natsupoi jumps back up, climbs up the turnbuckle, and cartwheels off the turnbuckle when Hiragi charges at her. She then hits a Kazadora facebuster and tags in Kairi. Kairi lands a Hurricane Rana on Hiragi, but then gets double teamed by Prominence, though she fights off both of them and lands a spear on Hiragi. She then hits a diving forearm on Hiragi for two and locks on a straightjacket choke. Hiragi gets to her feet, though, and puts Kairi into a back submission. Kairi fights out, but as she charges at Hiragi, Hiragi hits the boss man slam and tags Seira. Seira hits a back slam and then the double knees off the turnbuckle for two. Seira plants Kairi on the turnbuckle. Suzuki joins Seira, but then Ano intervenes, so you can tell what's going on, right? We now have four people at the turnbuckle, but then Hiragi catches them all, and Natsupoi pulls out Hiragi's leg at that point, causing all five people in a five-person Tower of Doom. Now, that was pretty crazy. Tower of Doom spots seem to happen an awful lot, right? You can kind of sense them coming, you know how they're going to end, but this one was really well put together. First of all, it was five people. I don't know if I've ever seen a five-person Tower of Doom spot. I'm sure they've happened, but they have not happened in my collective memory at this point. But the way Natsupoi did it, running along the ring apron, just grabbing Hiragi's leg and whipping it out from under her, which causes the entire thing to fall off the turnbuckle, was pretty cool. Anyway, Seira then pounds on Kairi and dodges the cutlass, but Kairi trips her and locks on a bridging leg lock until Suzuki intervenes and they double slam Kairi. Seira then goes for the vertical suplex, but Kairi reverses into a DDT. She runs at Seira, who then catches Kairi in an air raid crash, and both are down. They tag out to Suzuki and Ano. Suzuki and Ano pound on each other, but Suzuki floors her with a massive forearm and a knee to the back of the head. Natsupoi interferes, and they hit a double enziguri followed by a bridging fisherman suplex for two. But Hiragi comes in and drops Ano with a lariat, and Prominence triple teams her in the corner. Suzuki lands a half Nelson facebuster, and Seira hits a second rope knee drop with Suzuki on her back, but Natsupoi interrupts the pin. Suzuki goes back to the top, and Natsupoi delays her long enough, and Ano hits a top rope Hurricane Rana. While Natsupoi and Kairi hit a double neck breaker. Ano lands a German, but Seira interrupts with a kendo stick to Ano. Like she literally walked in with a kendo stick and just rockets Ano in the stomach with this thing to interrupt the pin. The ref didn't DQ her because, of course, if he did, well, no one gets the titles, right? Boos from the crowd, though they did not like this at all. Kairi clears her out with a cutlass, and she teams with Natsupoi to double dropkick Hiragi from the ring. Kairi and Natsupoi hit stereo diving cross bodies to Prominence on the floor. In the ring, Ano and Suzuki exchange Germans. Suzuki hits a high kick, then Ano hits a German for two, but Suzuki reverses her into the tequila shot for a huge near fall. I love that move so much. Suzuki hits a German, goes for the roll through German, going up to try to roll through and hit a second German, but Ano reverses and lands what I'm going to call the bridging spider pin, because I've never seen anything like this, where all like her feet and her hands are holding down parts of Suzuki while she's, I don't know, I can't even describe it, where she's bridging backwards over her. It was so cool. I've never seen anything like this. For the three, I need to find out the actual name of this move because it's very cool. Damn. Anyway, and that was the three. So we have a title change. Prominence loses the titles to restart. So Kairi, sorry, Ano, and Natsupoi, and I love Natsupoi now with the title. That's great. With the titles, which means 2 out of 3 of the members of Restart are Cosmic Angels. Cosmic Angels essentially has the Artist of Stardom titles, and that's what they promised Tam they would do when when Cosmic Angels was disintegrating. So yeah, good match. I love these three women together. Kairi, Natsupoi, and Ano. There were lots of good moves and counters. I love Prominence. They're so good. I'd give this 4.25 stars. I had a lot of fun with this match. Prominence, just they're Prominence, right? Suzuki is so good. I hope this doesn't mark the end of them appearing more often in Stardom, because really, I want to see Suzuki and all of Prominence as often as possible. They are so good in the ring. But for now, they storm off pissed, and man, you can see the mark on, like, when she's holding the title, you can see the mark on Ano's stomach from where the kendo stick hit her. Like there's like this red, almost bloody scratch above her navel. It's like, holy crap. And she just wailed on her with that kendo stick. But anyway, that was this match, and we had our first title change of the night. Would it be our only title change? Well, if you've already read the spoilers, you know the answer to that. Then next up, we have Saya Kamitani taking on Mina Shirakawa for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Now, this is a grudge match. For those of you who are unaware, last year, near the end of the year, I think it was November, Saya Kamitani was fighting Mina Shirakawa for the white belt, the Wonder of Stardom Championship, and she missed a Phoenix Splash. So to try to make it look better, she went back up to the rope again and went for another Phoenix Splash. This one connected with Mina's face, and it literally, like in real life, knocked teeth in and stuff. And Mina was a bloody mess. And she needed extensive dental work. She was gone for a while, but she came back with a new attitude, and she's gone after that title on Saya now, of course. And this is very much a story of has Mina, through her actions since then, gotten to Saya's confidence, right? Is Saya going to be able to execute the Phoenix Splash? She never hit a single Phoenix Splash since that day when she busted up Mina's mouth. She's been using the Firebird Splash instead. So does she have the confidence to use this move anymore? Has Mina gotten in her head? I mean, at the press conference, Mina spit like black gunk all over Saya's face, almost as like a symbolic spitting the blood and stuff out of her mouth. It was actually kind of cool. And yeah, it's she's been at Saya telling her she doesn't have the confidence to do it and stuff. So it's going to be very interesting. I was looking forward to this match to see where they were going to go with this. Saya Kamitani's been 476 days as champ. I think that's the longest. Yeah, it is the longest white belt run in Stardom history. So anyway, this match starts off and they grapple to start it, and it ends in a stalemate until Mina drop kicks Saya's knee, and there's your in-ring story. Drops her to the mat, knee first, starts to work over the knee slam, knee breaker, multiple knee smashes into the mat. I mean, what a smart way to go after Saya Kamitani, right? She's the Phoenix, right? She flies. So leg drop on the knee. She wraps Saya's leg around the ring post, and then she locks on the ring post figure four. And the commentators make some comment about Mina Shirakawa watching old Bret Hart tapes. Anyway, she pins Saya for the two and returns to the knee again. Saya hits her, but the leg gives out. Mina stomps on the knee. And every time Saya blocks something, Mina goes right after that knee. Mina Irish whips her to the corner, but Saya collapses. She manages to get up in the corner and she kicks Mina back and lands a drop kick, sending Mina to the outside. She then lands a springboard crossbody to the floor, but when she tries to get up on the floor, her knee gives out again because, of course, she just used it for the crossbody. I liked that touch. It's like, okay, she's going to hit the crossbody, but then like she hits the floor and it's even worse, right? She gets Mina back in the ring and lands an over the top rope splash for two. She goes for the Star Crusher, but Mina blocks and lands a springboard kick. Saya lands a roundhouse, but Mina kicks her knee out again. Saya goes for the schoolboy suplex, but Mina gets out. She then roundhouses Mina, but holds her knee after the move. Saya then lands a Fisherman Northern Lights for two, then hits a knee to Mina's face, like a running knee, and then drops to the mat holding the knee again. I mean, okay, she's trying to use her offense, but it is so based around the knee that she just can't get anything off without hurting herself, right? And she keeps trying and she keeps hurting herself. Picking her up, she then nails the Star Crusher by the ropes, holds her knee and climbs the ropes. So, this is her setup for the Phoenix Splash. She sets it up, but she stops on the top of the turnbuckle. She's just crouched in position to stand up for the Phoenix Splash, and she's just screaming, right? Like she can't do it. She waits too long, and then Mina comes up, comes up, and kicks her knee in. She then hits an electric chair dragon screw to Saya. Like she takes her off the top rope in electric chair position and then hits a dragon screw from that position. Locks on a figure four. I mean, this was an epic, epic figure four. Saya is just screaming in this hole, like just wailing to get out of it because how badly damaged the knee's been. Mina then lands that she manages to finally reach the ropes, and as soon as she gets up, Mina lands a back fist and a backdrop driver, and then a hanging DDT for two. Mina's just totally taking charge of the match at this point. She lifts her into an implant DDT for another two, and that implant DDT looks like it kills people. She sets up for the glamorous driver Mina, but Saya counters into a shoulder breaker. And of course, the shoulder breaker hits the knee and then she collapses, stumbles to her feet again, goes for the Star Crusher, but Mina fights out. Saya lands a knee, but Mina pops up. Saya then finally hits the schoolboy suplex for a near fall. She hits a spinning Star Crusher for another near fall. and she sets her up for the Phoenix Splash. And again, screaming as she climbs the ropes, this time seeming to be a little more confident. She gets to the top and she lands the Phoenix Splash finally. And Mina kicks out. So Saya is just beyond frustrated, positions her again. Mina trying to pull herself up on Saya, but collapses to the max. She used everything she had just to kick out of that Phoenix Splash. Saya goes up, but Mina then manages to get up and catches her on the turnbuckle, beating on her knee and then a forearm strike. She then lands an avalanche implant DDT, but because she's so spent, she couldn't capitalize on the pin. She just lies there. Mina then pounds her down. Saya, they both manage to get up. Mina pounds her back down with forearms. Saya hits a Hurricane Rana, but Mina rolls through on the pin for a huge near fall. Mina then locks on the glamorous collection Mina, her pinning move, but Saya barely kicks out. They land high kicks on each other, and Mina dragon screws her to the ground again and locks on another figure four. And Saya is just screaming and screaming, desperately clawing for the ropes. And then Mina bridges the figure four, and Saya she's like clutching at the ref. She's clutching at anything to try to get out, but she just will not submit. She finally manages to get to the ropes, but then Mina picks her up and lands the glamorous driver Mina, and Saya kicks out. She then picks her up again and hits a spinning glamorous driver Mina, and she pins Saya for the three. I mean, what an absolutely utterly phenomenal match. This is one of the easiest 5 stars I can give. This is a match of the year candidate if Kenny Omega would stop fighting Will Ospreay. And even though I had to listen to Mina's theme play over the ending, which I hate her theme music, let me make this clear, Mina's theme music sucks. The match though was outstanding. The story was incredible. I mean, coming into it, the drama they built around this, the way they capitalized on a mistake in a match and turned it into an absolutely amazing story. Mina's comeback, Saya struggling with confidence in herself, managing to hit the Phoenix Splash, but it still didn't work, right? It just the moves, the reversals. I can't tell you enough. Get your butts out there and watch this match. This is like drama in the ring to the highest degree. Great story, back and forth, near falls. I bit so many times in this match on the near falls because, you didn't know how the end was going to come, right? And the way they did it was just so well done, right? And both of them had moments of just sheer dominance. The way Saya sold her knee, I mean, my God, people could learn from this woman. Just anytime she did a move, her whole offense is based around her legs. But so she couldn't stop using it. And it was just brilliant, brilliant the way she did it. I mean, 5 stars, 5 stars. So, will this be my match of the night, though? We will have to find out, won't we? Because there is a lot more left on this card. But Saya, though, does strap the belt on Mina, crying as she does so and shakes her hand in a show of sportsmanship. Saya is helped out, though, by Utami and Miyu as Mina celebrates in the ring. And the whole time, she's just gut wrenching sobs, crying. So yeah, it was just epic. I don't know how else to describe it other than epic. So that brings us to Syuri versus Chihiro Hashimoto in a UWF rules match. Now, UWF is like, essentially close to their mixed martial arts type rules, right? There's no pinfalls. You can only win by knockout, submission, or stoppage. And this match was built up because, Syuri and Hashimoto, the Hashimoto's been kind of running through other people to get to, well, Syuri's wanted her. So anyway, they note though that this is like a fight between fighters. Syuri is 13-1 in professional kickboxing. She's the first Japanese female to win a fight in UFC. She has a 6-3 record. Hashimoto is undefeated one-on-one this year in professional wrestling, has lost only 6 matches since 2020. So this is like battle of the absolute deadly heavyweights. And Hashimoto, she's one of those big, strong women. Syuri is just Syuri. What else can I say? Anyway, they grapple, but neither of them can get an advantage. Hashimoto gets the first hit with a shoulder block, but Syuri soon responds with a rope hang armbar. Hashimoto catches her on the turnbuckle, but Syuri escapes, and after a quick switch exchange, Hashimoto locks on a cobra twist and turns it into a gut wrench suplex while Syuri gets close to the ropes. She slams Syuri down. They exchange extremely hard for him. And you can hear these bloody things, right? I mean, these women were holding nothing back in this match. They were like, I don't care if you were on the end of one of these forearms, youch. They run back and forth, and Syuri lands a high knee to the face. But on the run, Hashimoto drops her with a chop and begins a series of short arm clotheslines, then lifts her up into an Argentine backbreaker, which she transitions into a release German. I mean, just so much power and so fluid with it. Syuri comes back through, though, and stomps the living heck out of Hashimoto and locks on an armbar, which she transitions into a Fujiwara armbar when Hashimoto tries to escape. I mean, the transitions both these women can do are nuts, right? I mean, just the moment the person seems to be getting out of one hold, they transition to another hold. Hashimoto rolls through and floors Syuri with a lariat. Hashimoto climbs to the top, but Syuri catches her with an avalanche hammerlock suplex. She goes for the hammerlock, but Hashimoto rolls, so she locks on the armbar again, transitioning into the Vermilion Bird, which is like a scissors armbar. Modified, though, with a leg lock. Hashimoto manages to fight to the ropes, but Syuri then nails the running knee. She climbs to the ropes, but Hashimoto catches her only to get a headbutt from Syuri. But when Syuri is ready to launch off the ropes, Hashimoto suddenly jumps up and pulls Syuri's right leg out. And I mean, she just yanked her leg right out, right? Syuri goes tumbling down, smacks her head on the apron. On the floor, Syuri goes for a roundhouse, though, when Hashimoto gets down there. But Hashimoto grabs her leg in an ankle lock. She then goes for the German on the floor, but Syuri fights out only to get absolutely trashed with a spear. Hashimoto tries to get back in the ring, but Syuri pulls her off the apron and lands a tornado DDT on the floor, followed by a kick. Back in the ring, she lands a diving leg drop to the back of Hashimoto's head, followed by a series of seated kicks. But Hashimoto catches one and power bombs her, followed by a German suplex. But Syuri pops up and kicks her in the face. They throw elbows at each other. Both are down. They make it to their feet at 9 in exchange because, of course, this is, they're being counted down. If they don't get to their feet at 10, they're done, and they exchange forearm shots. Hashimoto finally drops it with clubbing forearms and goes for a power bomb again, but Syuri counters with a guillotine choke. Hashimoto reverses into a vertical suplex. Syuri kicks her twice and lands multiple knees to the head, followed by a stunner and a code breaker, and then a running knee to the back of the head, and then a headbutt to the back of the head. Syuri then hits her with the Seiyusuke and a big roundhouse kick. Hashimoto struggles to stand but can't make it in time. Syuri gets the knockout victory. And the Seiyusuke is one of her big finishing moves. So in the roundhouse kick, she's finished a lot of people with that. She hit them back to back on Hashimoto. Hashimoto almost makes it to her feet and then collapses again at the last second. And good match. They just killed each other. If you want to see two people absolutely like almost shoot level destroying each other, this is the match for you. I mean, again, this is what I've loved about this card, right? Look, high speed match where everyone's just flying all over the place and like the action's 100 miles a minute and cross bodies and stuff. And then you've got like the drama of Himeka and Micah, and then you've got like the just I don't even know how to say of Mina versus Saya, right? And then you get this, which is just like as to place this after that Mina Shirakawa Saya Kamitani match was just brilliant because this is such a different match, and yet the story is so solid, right? Like two of the strongest women in all of professional wrestling, period. I don't care what promotion you're in, two of the strongest women in wrestling, two of the best wrestlers, and they just kill each other. I mean, with great 4.25 stars, very hard hitting. They bowed each other after the match. Syuri gets a mic and says, "Thank you for taking this match with me tonight." She bows. When this match was made, I was delighted, but both of us headed into it knowing we had to win at all costs. There was a lot of pressure in me mentally and physically, but I couldn't be happier to have had this match with you. I want to say one thing to you. Do you want this to be your last match in Stardom? Because I'm ready to fight Sendai girls anytime. I look forward to meeting you in the ring once again. And believe me, I also look forward to them meeting in the ring once again. She can come back anytime. Hashimoto has had some phenomenal matches with people since she's been in Stardom. Like here is a big woman, strong woman who knows how to do a story in a match really, really well, right? And I mean, she's one of the head people in the Sendai Girls promotion. And I mean, the matches I've seen her have in Stardom, I've really enjoyed. You could take a couple of lessons from how Hashimoto wrestles because you're both very similar in structure. And I think that if you followed a little more of how she carries herself, you know, might help. But anyway, I really liked this match a lot. And that will lead us to our co-main event. And the first of our two co-main events is Mercedes Moné the champion, taking on Miyu Iwatani for the IWGP Women's Championship. And Mercedes comes out in a black tiger outfit. The announcers note, and I love this fact, Miyu is the only wrestler that has been with Stardom throughout its entire history, hence Stardom icon. But Mayu takes it to Mercedes immediately. Forearms, kicks, tope suicida when Mercedes heads to the floor to try to get away from her. Rolling her back in the way, she kicks her some more, then pushes her head into the apron, but Mercedes reverses and hits a running knee and a meteora to a hanging Mercedes to the floor, or to a hanging Mayu to the floor, which is pretty cool. She slams Mayu's head into the table right in front of Razi Ogawa. Rolling Mayu back in the ring, she hits a springboard Meteora for two. Then she hits the three amigos for another two. She goes for the frog splash, but Mayu rolls out of the way. But Mercedes capitalizes, hitting the running double knees. But on the second try for the running double knees, Mayu counters, rolling her up for two. Mercedes drapes Mayu on the second rope, though, stands on her, then pins her for two. Mercedes goes for the moneymaker, and this was the story of the match. It was really Mercedes just trying to work up to that finisher. She goes for the moneymaker, but Mayu reverses into the Dodon Puff for two. Mayu goes for the dragon suplex, but Mercedes fights to the ropes. Mayu kicks her arm, hits the suplex, followed by a seated thrust kick. Mayu then lands a frog splash of her own for two. She goes for the diving moonsault, one of her finishers, but Mercedes moves. Mercedes goes for the moneymaker again, but Mayu fights out, hitting a kick to the stomach, followed by a super kick and a slap. Mercedes goes for the moneymaker again, but this time Mayu grabs the ropes. Mercedes slams her off the ropes for two. She goes for the moneymaker again, but Mayu escapes again. But then Mercedes finally catches her, lands the moneymaker, but Mayu gets her foot on the ropes. Mercedes pulls her to the center, but Mayu kicks out repeatedly. Mercedes is so frustrated now because Mayu, like, she hit her with the moneymaker, and Mayu is kicking out pin after pin after pin. She just won't stop pinning Mayu. It was like 4 or 5 pins in a row. Mayu kicked out at one on the last one. Mercedes then hits a backstabber and claims she's the icon now. But Mayu gets up and hits the dragon suplex for a two. Then she hits the tombstone pile driver, and she Mercedes was fighting in the tombstone, but she finally got her into it. She tries to get to the ropes, but Mercedes grabs her leg. She kicks Mercedes, then a huge PK to the face. Then she nails the moonsault, and it's only a near fall. So they both kicked out, or at least gotten away from each other's usual finishers. But then Mayu hits her big finisher, the two-stage dragon suplex, and gets the 3 count on Mercedes. This was a good match. I would not call it great. I mean, the story was pretty basic. It was Mercedes hitting her finishers, but when she finally gets it, Mayu still gets away, and Mayu's big finisher puts Mercedes away. And a bit like this was probably the best I've seen Mercedes work in a Stardom ring. She looked really good here, right? She kept pace. Her moves looked good. She looked better than the last time I saw her out. The last couple times I saw her out. I don't know if it's just Mayu works a style that fits better with hers in this case. I mean, Mayu sold like a champ for Mercedes. I love watching Mayu do that because she's just so good on either side. Like her offense sometimes when she can get into the whole zombie Mayu mode, it's just great. But this match felt rushed. I mean, it was under 13 minutes for a title match like this. I'm not quite sure why it was so fast. The story was decent. I'd still give it like 4 stars. Yeah, let's give it four because when they did do stuff, it was really good. That innovative meteora to the hanging, to Mayu hanging from the apron, that was great. There was some really like the way Maya was getting out of the moneymaker, very cool. Yeah, there was some good moments in this. Mercedes bragging about becoming the icon. The crowd went back and forth between the two of them. The whole crowd was chanting CEO at one point. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too down on it for being short and stuff, but I mean, compared to some of the matches that were around it, the storytelling was good. The match was good. I mean, it's the kind of thing that, when you watch on Dynamite or something like that, and you're like, yeah, that was a good match. I enjoyed that. But you don't really think about it much after that, right? I think that's kind of where this falls. But I am very glad that Mayu Iwatani has the IWGP Women's Championship because, in case you weren't aware, Krishna and I are going to see Forbidden Door on June 25th. And if she's the IWGP Women's Champion, is she going to be at Forbidden Door? Because if she is, my God. But anyway, um, It was funny too. Mayu gets the belt and she totally pulls a Mayu here. She gets the belt from Razi Ogawa, who presents her with the title, and she bows to the belt and to Razi, and she actually hits her head on the belt when she bows. I laughed and she just laughed too, but it was so funny. Like she over exuberantly bowed and managed to actually connect, like headbutting the title. Anyway, Maya got a mic after that. She calls Mercedes back out. Mercedes had left. Finally, Mercedes comes out. Maya thanks her. She says she knows Mercedes has come to love Japan and it is with that love that I want to carry on as champion. So Mercedes gets a mic and she says she loves being the CEO of Stardom. Mayu showed her that she, meaning Mayu, is the true icon of Stardom Pro Wrestling, though. And she says, Maya says, yeah, I'm sorry. Mercedes says to Mayu, take care of that championship and so show the world why you are truly the icon. Arigato gozaimasu. And she holds Mayu's arm. And that was pretty cool. It was kind of Mercedes acknowledging, yeah, I love being the CEO, but you're the icon. And and it's true. Like there are a lot of Mercedes seemed very sincere. I'll give her that much. I didn't catch a lot of character. She's feeling more comfortable. Like she's playing the character she always played, like the boss, right? She's playing it, but it's feeling relaxed now. It's feeling more comfortable. It's like she's coming into it better. It's like she's starting to feel like, the training wheels are coming off, right? Like she's starting to feel more like she belongs here. She felt more like a member of the Stardom ring on this match. And I don't know if it's just because it was at a Stardom event, but she just seemed more comfortable. She looked the best she has. Her presentation was the best. You could feel the character, but it felt like it belonged this time. I don't know what it was about it, but it just felt like, oh, okay, I'm okay with her being in a Stardom ring because now she's starting to feel like she kind of belongs in a Stardom ring, right? I don't know. It was kind of interesting. I'm not quite sure why I have that impression right now. I'm gonna have to think about it, but I definitely had it and it was interesting. And it's almost like that transition I had with Tony Storm where it was like, oh wait, she's putting on good matches now. It's like the kind of like lack of polish she had when she first came back to AEW from WWE. It's like, well, now she's improved. She's kind of back to her old self again, right? And I'm starting to feel that with Mercedes. Like some of the rust is coming off. She's getting her wheels under her. Her wrestling seems better. She held her own with Mayu. I mean, Mayu was still the better of the two as a wrestler, but Mercedes is clearly like, she's a good storyteller. She's good with the jawing in the ring and that kind of stuff, and it was good. So yeah, I enjoyed this, but I think what intrigued me the most was the possibilities coming out of it. Mayu now with that IWGP belt, Mercedes still sticking around. It has been announced. She has officially signed for at least one more match, and it will be at the New Japan event in, I forget which city they're in, but it's in the US, and she will be appearing at that one. Is it a rematch with Maya for the title? Quite possibly. So we'll see what happens with that, right? But I got a sneaking feeling Maya will hopefully beat her again because I really want Mayu to be the one to carry the IWGP title into Forbidden Door. So then we had the one match on the card that I thought was a complete gimme, right? Like, oh my God. But let me start this. Giulia taking on Tam Nakano, one of the greatest rivalries in professional wrestling. My God, have these women portrayed two people hating each other's guts? Like just and taking each other to new levels of just like violence and stuff, right? I mean, all the way, this goes back years, right? And like Tam shaving Giulia's head in the one match, or they fought for different titles together. Like just recently, the whole like Tam cutting Giulia's hair again is a callback to that, and then Giulia headbutting her during the press conference, busting her head open, giving her an egg. Like, and I talked about that in a previous pod. I don't love these headbutts, but for the drama of it, the bloody face mask lying on the floor in the press conference, and you know, there's so much emotion coming. And Tam, oh, the whole focus of her life. She will do anything for that title. She will give up her life for that title. She'll give up and I mean, it almost cost her Cosmic Angels. Mina leaving and Waka leaving, and she's just there's this real sense of desperation around her. And then Julie, of course, just the confident champion who is just a complete and utter ass kicker. Who, good luck trying to kill her, right? And Julia just got that title in December. So I've gone into this match My prediction, Giulia's got this in the bag, right? Tam is going to put up a big fight, but is going to keep telling her story of futility. That was what I thought going into this match. So they open with a grappling exchange. And I mean, it's a good grappling exchange. They go back and forth for quite a bit with neither one of them getting an advantage from move after move after move. Tam then slaps her and goes for a kick, but Giulia counters straight into the Northern Lights bomb. I mean, it was out of nowhere, like a hard Northern Lights bomb, planting Tam on her head. Tam rolls out of the ring, holding her head as Giulia gets a table. Like Tam's just lying on the floor outside, clutching her head. Natsuko is checking on her. Giulia gets a table from under the ring. Giulia gets her up on the table and goes for, her classic pile driver through the table, but Tam manages to fight out, though, and Giulia rolls her back in the ring where she just continues the relentless assault on Tam. Kicks, strikes, stomps. Tam manages to hit the roundhouse kick, though, and then a running knee against the rope sends Giulia to the apron. Tam then locks in a hanging rear naked choke from the turnbuckle, like lifts her up into the rear naked choke. But then Giulia snap mares her off the top rope to get out of the choke and puts her through the table on the floor. Tam is just screaming on the floor as Giulia drags her up the ramp, where she goes for the glorious driver. But Tam counters it with a reverse DDT on the ramp. She then goes all the way up the ramp, runs down, and this is a long ramp, okay? Like think pay-per-view level ramp here, okay? And lands a violet shooting that sends Giulia rolling down the ramp, most of the way down the ramp. She then winds up again and hits a second violet shooting, sending Giulia to the bottom of the ramp. Giulia rolls back in the ring, though, and Tam goes to the top, but Giulia catches her up on the turnbuckle. They fight on the turnbuckle, exchanging forearms and slaps that ends in a vicious headbutt to each other, sending both of them crashing to the floor. They make it back in the ring before the count out and fight to their feet, exchanging slaps again, which Giulia gets the better of. I'm saying exchanging slaps. This isn't like teak teak. This is like just full on absolute wallop slaps, right? And then when Giulia finally goes at it, she's like slap, 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 hand, 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 to the point where Tam is looking dazed as hell, like her eyes are about to roll back in her head. But then Tam responds with a headbutt and a clubbing blow to Giulia. But then Giulia drops her with an actual closed fist haymaker. And she gets a ref's warning because closed fists are not allowed in Japanese wrestling. She gets the ref's warning for the closed fist. Giulia then hits a Michinoku driver for 2, then a backdrop driver and the glorious driver for another 2 count. But Tam reverses the next attempt into a Hurricane Rana for 2, followed by a thrust kick to the face. Tam goes for the Tiger driver, but Giulia blocks, so Tam locks on the Northern Cross until Giulia fights to the ropes. Tam hits a Tiger driver for 2, and then 4 violet shootings. She lifted her up, bam, lifted her up, bam, lifted her up, bam, just kept hitting them. And then follow that with the Twilight Dream, but Giulia kicks out. She then goes for the violet screwdriver, but Giulia reverses it into a Ganosuke clutch for 2. Giulia then drops her with a huge forearm again, though it looked like it was like the back of her fist, right? So it was hard to tell. The ref kind of checked her. The crowd booed because it looked like she nailed her with another closed fist. She kicks Tam down for 2. She hits another Northern Lights bomb for a near fall. She goes for the glorious driver, but Tam blocks and gets to the ropes to struggle out. Giulia sets her up in the turnbuckle, going for the Northern Lights bomb off the turnbuckle, but Tam fights her off, tries to pull her into a power bomb. Giulia kicks her down, but Tam comes back and then nails an avalanche tiger suplex, but both are down. She can't capitalize at all. They get to their feet, and Tam hits the tiger suplex, and Giulia kicks out at 1. Giulia then hits the backdrop driver, and Tam kicks out at 1. So Giulia hits the tiger suplex, Tam's move. Tam gets up. Tam nails the Northern Lights bomb and then hits the Twilight Dream for a massive near fall. I bid on this. The crowd's going nuts, but then Tam lifts up Giulia, hits the violet screwdriver, 1, 2, 3. And I was like, I just about went out of my seat. I'm like, Tam pinned Giulia. Tam's the champion. Tam got the red belt. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, what a match. They absolutely killed each other. It's damn close. I'm just, is it 5 stars? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm so back and forth on this one. It's not as easy as that, which, okay, of course, now the Saya Kamitani, Mina Shirakawa match, my match of the night, 100%. But this is such a 1B to the 1A. This match was great. They just killed each other in the ring, just killed each other. And, you know, Yeah, okay. I'm gonna give it 5 stars too. So but I would say it's a 5 stars. It's just a slight hair below the other 5 stars, right? 5 stars 1A, 5 stars 1B. But anyway, I mean, what a match. You gotta check this out too. It's so good. These were the two matches on the show by far and away, right? The white belt match and the red belt match. They are just, oh my God, this is Stardom shining at its best. I can't express that enough. These matches are just outstanding, out of sight. This is why I watch professional wrestling. I mean, I get emotional when I say that because it's true. This is why I watch. It's matches like this where I am just drawn into a story and I'm living the story with them. And when it gets to the end, you're just shocked. It's like, oh my God, or you're happy or you're celebrating or something happens. Like Mina won. I didn't like Mina winning, but the match was so good. And I have so much respect for the match she pulled off there. She's such a good wrestler, right? And to think that just a couple of years ago, people were questioning how good she was. And just, it's amazing, right? But in this match, Tam gets the mic after the match and she goes, Giulia, you're a monster. And now I've finally taken this from you. You are the worst, biggest rival I've ever had. And every time we fought, I put my life on the line to beat you. I was sure I'd never be able to get past you. And Giulia says, I wanted the World of Stardom title to do what I needed to do, and you took it away from me. But today was pretty fun. And Tam says, I've seen enough of you for now. Giulia, Yokohama Arena. She turns to the arena. What have we seen here tonight? We've seen Giulia, we've seen Tam Nakano, and everything that means. Arrivederci for now. So she leaves, and Tam then says, Yokohama Arena and the galaxy, the entire universe. With all the will I have, you have given me, I am your World of Stardom champion. And she starts to cry. There have been moments in this business when it seemed like there was no road to victory. It was such a dark life, and yet I was able to live through it. Now all of us together will lead Stardom into a new world. It can be anyone. We want everyone to stand up and join the cutest in the cosmos on their feet. Do you all believe in Tam? And she led a chant. It was, but I mean, they were loud, and yeah, it was really cool. It's so clear she is just so happy to be the champion. She was crying constantly. It's her first time being the World of Stardom champion. I mean, what a show. What an ending. What a show. Wow. I mean, every single title changed hands. Every single title that was fought for changed hands. I was in total shock. I'm like, because all the other titles changed. And I'm like, well, Giulia is keeping the belt. They're not going to change every title. They're not going to take the title off Giulia this soon, are they? Well, they did. And it's so cool. There's a whole new kind of world of Stardom opening up now, right? We've got Tam and Cosmic Angels, and it's a new Cosmic Angels. The only one left is Natsuko from the original, and Saki and her colors group that are affiliated with them. But and now you've got Soriano with them, which is a really interesting addition. I like her there. I like her style. She's so reserved compared to the other members of Cosmic Angels. I've only seen her a couple times now, and I really like her. I think she's really good. She's also very good in the ring, but it's Stardom. So I'm intrigued. What's going to happen with that storyline now? That's coming out of this. And okay, we've got new tag champs, right? Mariah and Amisora. I think that's great. Now we see all these matches. Now I get to watch them as the tag team champions, and Mariah still has she's the Cinderella, so she's got the ability to call a title shot with someone else. Is she going to go after Mina's belt? Is she going to go after Tam? There's so many possibilities, right? What's Yuri going to do next now that she's done with Hashimoto? And is she going to come after Tam now? Because Tam and Shuri, oh my God, that'll be awesome if they go at it. It's just there's so many amazing matches now that can be set up that it's like a whole new world of Stardom, right? And I mean, I love Kairi kind of being because at the end, when the Cosmic Angels came in the ring with Tam to hold up their titles and celebrate, Kairi joined them. And she looked a little confused. Oh, you want me in there too? But she came up with them and they all held up their belts together, right? Because I mean, Cosmic Angels, in spite of the disaster that happened at the Cinderella tournament finals, they're standing pretty strong. They did exactly what they said they were going to do. They said, we're taking these titles. We promise we will be holding these titles at the end of this event. And they did. Natsupoi and her group won the Artist of Stardom, and she had promised Tam they would do that, and they did. And Tam won the red belt. And now they're all standing together with belts. It's pretty amazing. So, and Kairi, where's she going to fall into all this? So I love her with this group. And it's just great. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, there's nowhere to go. And Miyu Iwatani is the IWGP champion. I mean, that's great too. So, this is a 5-star show. 5-star show. There wasn't a bad match on this card. Not even close. I mean, even the Rumble was fun, right? Like not too much comedy, kind of fun. The commentator called Fuwa-chan Death the Orange Cassidy of Stardom. So, it's great. It's great. I had such a good time watching the show. It's fabulous. But all good things must come to an end, as they say, right? And we will be back later to talk about the weekly news and stuff in our weekly show. We will be recording that later today, and hopefully you'll check that one out too. And as always, we will be back on Wednesday with our weekly Dynamite review. And I believe it is this coming Saturday that we are going to see Smash Wrestling here in Toronto. And we will be doing a show on that as well. So please, by all means, check that out too. If you like what you're listening to, give us a 5-star review on the podcast. Give us the subscribe and follow on Twitter. Give us a subscribe, thumbs up, anything you like, comments. We'd love them all. Just interact. We'll be there. We appreciate every single interaction. So, but for now, as the great one always says, goodbye, everybody. Mwah! And good night. Bang.